Hey everybody, I'm Kevin, and behind me we've got a Canada red cherry. This is also called Schubert choke cherry. It's in the Prunus genus, Prunus virginiana, and it's a common choke cherry variety. So you can get some of the great things about it and some of the bad things about it. I'm in the northern Great Plains, Zone 4. We're early spring here, first part of April, and we're going to get after a disease called black knot and get that pruned out of there. It's important to get black knot pruned out before the early spring rains. What can happen as soon as it comes out of dormancy, those spores can disseminate and not only be carried by wind to other trees, but disseminate throughout the tree. Now, Canada red cherry's got a lot of great things going for it. Look at this purple foliage that you get, so it really stands out in the landscape. I love it because of that. It's fast growing, it's hardy. They have abundant choke cherry fruits that are great for wildlife and for making jams and jellies. And take a look at this showy white spring flower. It's going to be very adaptable to different soil conditions, different pHs in the soil. We happen to be a neutral to high pH, so it's just a solid, hardy plant for our area. We'll also take a quick look at the suckers that a Canada red cherry can get. You can see evidence of some of those suckers there. The rabbits have actually pruned them back for me through the winter. You can see some of those small little stubs there. I keep them pruned back either with my pruners or a weed whip all season long. But as this tree gets older, you'll find that that Canada red cherry, those suckers can come out in the lawn and kind of come up everywhere. And I do deal with the problem of it in this mulch bed. But that black knot, most of the Canada red cherries in our area do get this disease, and that fungus, it accelerates the plant growth of the Canada red cherry cells, and then this gall forms. Initially you don't notice it, it kind of has a greenish tint to it. I don't have a picture of that, and then by the second year you get these black, ugly, gnarly growths. And look at this picture here, just an awful, ugly mess. And it's mostly you're going to notice that in the fall, the winter, and through the spring. About 4 years ago, I took out about 25% of this tree. I had let it go and the black knot was literally everywhere. I'm sure I pruned out hundreds of cankers. And the tree looked a little scalped up. I didn't think it was going to rebound so quickly, but it did. The reason I bring this up is sanitation of the pruning equipment. Normally when you're dealing with a disease, you want to sterilize in between each cuts. But since I wasn't even sure if I was going to take this tree out, I decided to experiment. I thought, you know what? Let's see if I end up spreading that disease throughout the tree. And with black knot, I really didn't. This is like 4 years later, and I've only got, I'm going to say there's maybe a dozen cankers in there compared to 100. Now, if I would have spread that disease to every place I cut it, there would have been literally hundreds more cankers rather quickly. So follow the main guidelines anytime you're dealing with a disease where you should keep your equipment sterilized. And I'll likely sterilize my pruning equipment when I'm done with this tree, since I do go to other people's locations and do pruning. I will mention though, I am going to be going back at least 12 inches from the canker, and that may have something to do with it. If you have to prune a canker out that's close, then it might be a different story that you want to do that sanitation. Since this canker is all the way around that entire twig, it has killed off any further growth. That's just going to snap. I'm sure it's pretty hard. Yeah, see, it just completely snaps compared to no canker on this. And we've got a really flexible twig. So eventually those cankers, if you let them go too long, they will kill off that tip or that branch completely. Now, I'm not suggesting you don't sterilize yours. Again, I'm all about experimentation, and since I didn't have many problems last time when I pruned, I'm not going to worry about it. Back in here we've got a canker, and if I can get my camera back in here, look at the size of that canker in there. You know, that's over 12 inches long, about 18 inches, and so we're actually going to have to come back. We're going to prune that out of there. We're going to come back to this lateral way back in here and take out a major branch just to get rid of that canker. And let's come in, get you a close look at that canker on that main branch. We could have let that go for many, many years, and I don't think it would have killed that branch up. But what will happen, that canker will continue to sporulate and just infect other branches. So best to get it out of there when a tree is dormant like this. You probably can't tell, but that opened up a pretty good void within this tree. But I'm not too worried about it. Due to the vigorous nature, the fast growth of a Canada cherry, I'd rather get that canker out of there than let it spread throughout the trees. I'm also going to mention, you want to make sure that you dispose of this wood in a public landfill in your garbage can. You don't really want to chip this, compost it, you're probably going to keep that disease around. All right, we've taken care of all the cankers that we can see. And as with this disease we mentioned, there's disease probably happening in there. We just can't see the visible symptoms yet. It takes that full year before you can see that black knot or that really, really extreme canker. So make sure you get that pruned out on an annual basis and you'll stay ahead of the disease and be able to enjoy your tree for a long time. If you're interested in some tips on how to identify trees, I'll flash a card across the top of the screen to one of my earlier videos that takes a closer look at Canada red cherry characteristics as well as a couple other trees like buckeye and alder. You can also hit subscribe to find that video or look for it in the description box below. Okay, that wraps up this video on black knots. Keep in mind the Prunus genus can also be the cherries, the plums, so you can get it on other trees than choke cherry. Thanks for stopping by Garden Hike, I appreciate it. We'll see you again next video.